The Spitfire is one of the most legendary fighters on the planet. Its sheer engineering and the pilots behind it help prevent Germany from owning the world. But what you would normally get in a video like this is some great stories about what the fighter was and maybe some statistical facts on it. But today we look at some different facts that you might have never heard of about the UK's great and legendary Spitfire. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to FTD Facts, the channel where we look at people, cultures, militaries, and history from all around the world. My name is Dave Wobble, and as always, I'm always excited to be doing a video on a cool topic, but this one is a little special for me because I love the Spitfire. I think it's a beautifully made aircraft, and it's just got a lot of history behind it, and it's just something that when I think of it, I think of honor, valor, and glory. And of course, if you like military content, you want to keep an eye out for our playlist in this video. They'll be in the boxes or in the description box below. We got some cool stuff that I think you guys will enjoy. Now, firstly, one thing that I found out that was really interesting is that most of us think that the Spitfire was a bit of a bomber and a fighter, being capable of carrying bombs underneath its wings. But here's the thing, the Spitfire itself wasn't just a bomber, it was also kind of a mobile bar, or at least it delivered beer to soldiers in Europe. That's right. Basically, the story is that after the Battle of D-Day, the fighter became a little bit of a delivery plane for beer. Volunteers were organized under a bit of a black market by strapping beer kegs underneath to the fighter. They even went as far as to use old fuel jettison tanks, obviously after washing them out. And I think the kind of nice part about this is when that plane got really, really high, it would chill that beer so perfectly. So the soldiers, could have some on their R&R time. Now, did you know that most German aces actually revered the Spitfire? As a matter of fact, a lot of them were like, man, I kind of wish I had one myself. Most of them commonly thought that the Spitfire was superior to their own planes, even the Messerschmitt 109s. Ace pilot Adolf Galland famously responded, "I should like an outfit of Spitfires." Many others cited how they almost came close to being gunned down by these aircraft, and because of that, they were extraordinarily deadly to the Germans. So one thing with the Spitfire that not a lot of people know about is that when it first came out, it had a lot of accident reports. The reason for this was because it was one of the first planes, especially in a fighter setting, that had retractable landing gear. And in the early days, even experienced pilots generally forgot to lower their landing gear when approaching for a landing. Contrary to what most people believe, the Spitfire didn't actually shoot down most of the German planes during the Battle of Britain. This, however, was given to the Hawker Hurricane, which was somewhat a competitor to the Spitfire. Competitor in the fact that there was a lot of Hawker Hurricanes and they did their fair share throughout the war as well. Now, the original designer of the plane, R.J. Mitchell, began designs for this aircraft in 1931. Obviously, changes went through, but the interesting thing is R.J. Mitchell never saw how great his fighter would be, as he passed away on June 11th, 1937, due to cancer. And it wasn't until August 8, 1938, that the plane entered service for the Allied forces. Of the 22,000 planes that were built for the war, a little over 54 of them are still around today in flying condition. This also includes the famous Seafire, which most people don't know that the Spitfire did have an aircraft carrier version, and that was the Seafire. In today's world, if you have a pilot license, you can learn to fly one of these in Kent at the Boltby Flight Academy. And it's kind of expensive to do so you gotta have a lot of money. Another unknown or more or less uncommon fact is that in 1940, Germany had managed to take out two of the large factories in Southampton producing the Spitfires. Fortunately, though, Britain had a backup plan, and this one's really cool. They had small warehouses, showrooms, small sheds, hotels, backyards, garages, and volunteers, which were mostly women, that became major locations and contributors to building the Spitfires for the war. As a matter of fact, of these small locations and the ladies behind the construction, they made approximately 2,000 planes, which was about 10% of all the planes that were made during the war. During World War II, the biggest flying ace who flew a Spitfire was known as Johnny Johnson, who was an RAF pilot who claimed 34 individual victories or downed aircraft, not including shared victories. He was also the second highest Allied scoring ace throughout the entire war. And lastly, did you know that the Spitfire was the only propeller plane that came extremely close to breaking the sound barrier? The Spitfire was capable of going naturally over 400 miles per hour, but during the mid-1940s, they modified the Spitfire to test what happens to planes going near the speed of sound. And on April 27, 1944, squadron leader Anthony F. Martindale flew his Mark 11 Spitfire high into the sky, then put the craft in a nosedive, which reached speeds of Mach 0.92, the fastest any piston aircraft had ever gone. And the results of this, well, they found that the Spitfire was not made to be able to withstand these speeds. Because the propeller actually flew off, Anthony also blacked out, and the wings ended up being bent back from its original position because of the force of pressure and wind. Fortunately, though, however, Anthony did survive. I was like, whoa, that's a sheer miracle. Anyways, guys, that and girls, I guess you could say, if there are a few watching this video, but it's mostly guys. Yeah. Anyways, my name's Dave Wapple. Thank you guys for tuning in and learning about the Spitfire. Man, it's just a great aircraft. I love it. Hope you guys like this video, and don't forget to check out our cool playlist that I've put in the description box below and in the cards, and they'll be at the end of the video that you guys can check out. Feel free to leave a comment for a future FTD Facts video, because I love learning with you guys and taking your suggestions. But you guys have yourself a fantastic one, and I'll see you later. Bye. Alright, so here's those playlists that I was telling you guys all about. Once again, don't feel afraid to leave a comment down there. And if you like this stuff, give it a big thumbs up. Or just hit that subscribe button and that bell notification. There's a lot of things that you could do. Alright, I'll see you later. Bye.